goes.
Yeah, one major factor here is that Primal Might is usually a 1-mana removal spell in this matchup instead of like a 2-mana removal spell. And against Priest of Forgotten Gods specifically, most of your creatures are just large enough so that that's not the case. Here, though, we have a pretty solid start here from Ross, but on the draw here, I'm not sure just how good it's going to be. No one drop.
Stonecoil Serpent opens up, and so much for a no one drop. Here's Gutter Bones off the top. That's a welcome peel, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Nothing versus something? I'll take it.
How do you feel about Portmanteaus, Todd? So I'll be more specific. Stalder has a Bonder's Enclave in hand. Do you have any feelings on calling that land the Bondclave?
Enclave. No, it's a Bondclave.
All right, glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, always.
Barkhide Troll rumbles in, and a backup 2/3/3 setup, and that 1/1 Stonecoil Serpent usually pretty happy as fodder for Priest of Forgotten Gods. We'll see what Merriam wants to do. Mentioned there's no Mayhem Devils. There are a couple Judith the Scourge Divas, which can have a similar effect when you're sacrificing things.
Yeah, but the upside is that when you're not sacrificing stuff, Judith gives you that natural boost to all your creatures, so it's much better against the slower decks in the format where the boost actually matters. Like when your creatures are all getting the +1/+0 and attacking, instead of using your Priest of Forgotten Gods to basically machine gun down the creatures from the opposing side, Judith kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It's not quite the best at one or the other.
Here's Judith pumping the team. No action just yet. Go back to Stalder. Sandbagging the Bondclave. Gonna play Forest off the top. At some point, though, with all that green, you might get hit by a Croxy. You kind of want to get the Bondclave on the table.
Oh, sure. There's like some value in hiding the specialty lands whenever you play games like this. But when you're playing against a deck that has like... oh man, I was gonna say Skullcrack, but it's like the old one where it's like 1 black, make them discard a card, and then it has flashback for 4. It was called like Noggin Whack, I think, or something like that. Maybe, I don't remember. When you play against decks that have Noggin Whack, you know what I'm saying.
I'm really struggling to come up with the card that you're naming.
It's got flashback.
I know Raven's Crime.
No.
I know there's a card that exiles a card from a graveyard with flashback called Coffin Purge. I literally can't come up with a discard a card with flashback. Anyway, here's Vivian Arcbow Ranger. Let's fight down that priest. Judith gets to finish off Vivian, though. And here comes the squad. Stonecoil Serpent cannot be blocked by Judith, so it would have to trade with Gutterbones.
Yeah, and Judith can't kill it with the trigger either, so this Gutterbones is just going to be trading 1 for 1. Although I believe the Judith could block the Barkhide Troll, and we could trade 2 for 2. I don't know if that's something that Ross is potentially interested in.
Yeah, you will find out. Right now, Gutterbones aims to be the only blocker. Maintaining a creature is pretty nice because it means you can attack with the Judith and pick up the Gutterbones, but getting the trolls off the table is also pretty nice.
Yeah, I like just doing like condensing the board down a bit. Like you're pretty behind, it's unlikely that your opponent's going to be able to really establish that much of an overwhelming board position, especially in the face of something like Rankle or even like double Priest of Forgotten Gods if he goes for that this turn. Oh, maybe he's going to go for a discard.
See, Rankle show up. That's going to attack. Yeah, Merriam already has a Castle Locthwain, so this extra one in hand, it's reasonable to discard.
Yeah, and he did decide to play the Blood Crypt. He shocked himself to do it instead of the castle, but it's that double red that was really tough.
And Stalder discards the Bondclave. A little bit of a punish for the sequencing there. Questing Beast off the top, though. That's a lot of pressure. Merriam to 9.
Yeah, that Questing Beast, one hell of a draw.
we go back to Merriam, has Rankle. Some interesting options here. Meyer Triton off the top. We'll start with an attack with Rankle. Stonecoil Serpent actually just blocks that. That has reach, but Rankle eats that one for lunch.
Nom 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 nom. I like getting 2 Priests of Forgotten Gods down here too, because now a single Primal Might or something off top of the deck doesn't save you from these priests eating up your stuff.
Yeah, love it. Double Priest go. Stalder is going to hit with the Questing Beast. Merriam to 5. See a Garrick's Harbinger picked up. You might see Harbinger and a 1/1 Stonecoil Serpent here. You almost have to jam the Serpent this turn one way or the other, right? Can you really afford to discard the Rankle?
No, I don't think so. I think playing both is the play, and you just chump block the Rankle again with the Stonecoil Serpent, or you just use it as fodder for sacrifice for the Priest of Forgotten Gods, and then let the Rankle kind of wreak havoc. The Garrick's Harbinger is not that impressive though, so I also wouldn't be surprised to just see like a 4/4 Stonecoil Serpent come down and just like play reach defense against the Rankle. I would not play, for example, like Garrick's Harbinger and then hold the Stonecoil Serpent. I don't think that that's something I'd be interested in.
Right, Stalder lands on deploying the hand. You see the 1/1 Serpent. Miriam's going to draw a Serrated Scorpion. At this point, you got to think that Questing Beast could be a real problem from 5. It's difficult to block. It has that clause where little creatures can't block it, and a pump spell, say Primal Might, would be lethal from here. So you see Meyer Triton shows up, Scorpion as well. Rankle attacks. Merriam relevantly to 7 off of that Triton. So theoretically, we could see a card draw off the Rankle here.
I actually think this is maybe a slight misstep from Ross. I think he actually could have gone main phase of Priest of Forgotten Gods, sacking the Scorpion and the Meyer Triton, and then he would be able to get back Gutter Bones off of the Life Loss from Priest. With that 1 mana, could have cast Gutter Bones, and then activated another Priest of Forgotten Gods, made him sack another creature, and then would have been able to attack with the Rankle, and then he would have lost his entire board, but he would have cleared the other side of the board as well.
Well, let's see where he goes from here. We see each player sacks a creature selected.
I think now he's unable to completely clear because he can really only activate 1 Priest of Forgotten Gods this turn because he didn't sequence it in the... Like, he basically is putting the Rankle on the stack first instead of last.
Hold on. You can Priest, get the mana, bring back Bones, and cast it, right?
Yeah, but you have to sacrifice one of the other Priest of Forgotten Gods or the Rankle, and I don't think that he necessarily wants to do either of those things.
Well, looks like he does not want to, but just a forest off the top for Stalder.
The Meyer Triton does have Death Touch, though, so it can block the Garrick's Harbinger here. It can't block the Questing Beast, so you still take 4 no matter what.
Also
That's pretty
true.
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, the real fear here was Stalder having a Primal Might, and Merriam has dodged that.
Mm-hmm.
Though at 9 life, actually pretty comfortable now. That Serrated Scorpion doing some work. Here comes the Beast. The QB, as Cedric likes to call it. Getting some updates from our back tables. Nick Miller is saying that Hansard has defeated Koizumi 2-0. Gonna see some more mono green today, it would seem. Team rumbles in. Triton trades with Harbinger. Questing Beast connects. Ross Merriam to 5. With just a forest in hand, things are looking pretty good for Merriam here. Whisper Squad off the top. That can activate right away. Find a backup Whisper Squad.
All right, the card is called Skull Fracture. I was looking it up. I'm sorry. I could not get it out of my head.
That's the dumpy discard spell we couldn't give up on.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got it.
Yeah, I'm very happy about it, to be honest.
All right, right, here goes Priest of Forgotten God. Sacrifices the extra priest, sacrifices the other Whisper Squad. We get 3 mana. Here's a Serrated Scorpion off the top. Cast that and activate Whisper Squad. Just snowballing this value, and Merriam comfortably at 5. I would recommend not making players draw a card. Look at that discipline.
He went for the good game. He was going to emote the good game.
Well, there we see the good game, and Stalder picks him up. Ross Merriam up a game here in the top 8.
I guess Ross had the superior gaming chair that round. Was able to defeat Stalder's mono green. He's probably sitting in one of these Carnox chairs right now. Carnox is, of course, one of the sponsors here on the SCG Tour Online. Those chairs, I can tell you firsthand, are super comfortable. They come in all shapes, sizes, and color combinations. I highly recommend the big boy one because I myself am a big boy.
The 10% off at checkout at carnox.com/SCG.
Yeah, we use those Carnox chairs on the SCG Tour when we're having tabletop events. I pretty often take naps in them, and I say any chair you can take a nap in is fine by me. But they're also great for keeping your back straight. As someone who's had back problems in the past, having a chair that has great back support is also pretty nice.
Get you that lumbar support, get you that nap chair.
Dude, it does it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like this forest in Stalder's sideboard here.
Sometimes you just can't get flooded. This is one of those matchups you can't really get flooded in.
Yeah, you got to be casting spells. You got to be curving out. I think that's generally true of the green deck, but you don't want to be made a fool of by these Whisper Squads, you know? You can't just let them get free attacks. You got to have spells all the time.
That's true. So I think that last game was basically just a masterclass in why Priest of Forgotten Gods is so good against a creature-based strategy. Now, if you're behind, it's able to help you catch back up because you do have to sacrifice 2 creatures for the effect, right? But the payoff is mana and a card and a little bit of life lost along the way. In last game, though, Ross has stuff like Whisper Squad. It just very easily helps him pay for all of it. It's awesome.
Pelt Collector on the play for Stalder. This is why you play the green deck. You're Scavenging Ooze, because you get to attack for 2. Merriam to 18. But Bone Crusher Giant. Get that Scavenging Ooze out of there. That card is just so brutal when you get to kill something and the 4/3 matters in combat.
Oh, yeah, and this is one of the matchups where the 4/3 matters a lot because the body has enough power to trade with the likes of Questing Beast. So next turn, if he just plays the Bone Crusher Giant right now, next turn the Questing Beast just like can't come down and attack. Like, it just doesn't do enough.
Yeah.
Has to be like Primal Might buff attack, probably.
And honestly, Merriam just kind of flooded with good options. You can Gutter Bones, leave up Noxious Grasp. You can just leave up Bedevil. You can cast the Bone Crusher Giant. He'll take his time. He'll think about it.
Name a more iconic duo, Ross Merriam and that frickin' rope that burns.
Yeah, perhaps the play patterns are born from a fondness for the rope, though we don't see it burn this turn.
Wow. Who's about to, though? Bet you $5.
Heart's Desire and Questing Beast, and I would say that the Spell Collector is a pretty good attack. I think trading that for Bone Crusher Giants may be fine, though Stalder does have some pump spells in hand. Could just hang on to that.
Yeah, it can also maybe outsize the Bone Crusher at some point too. So you're trading, there's no point in which the Bone Crusher Giant becomes more important than it is right now. Like, it's already as important as it can be, and the Pellet Collector can eventually grow larger. And the Bone Crusher Giant's not like trading for Questing Beast. Next turn, if a Questing Beast comes down and pumps the Pellet Collector, there's a huge attack coming through, and the Pellet Collector can be made slightly larger from like a Stonecoil Serpent in a turn or two, you know?
True. Yeah, I think that my notion to attack there was based on my history of embarrassing people who cast Pellet Collector against me. And Merriam kind of has a setup that does that, as you see him untap and leave up 2 Noxious Grasps here.
Yeah, but this Ranger's Guile might end up being pretty cool.
And we'll find out. Here's Questing Beast.
I mean, it has to be a double Noxious Grasp turn. It just depends. Like the rest of the turn will basically be decided on like how the rest of this turn plays out, like how attacks go, blocks that Ross Merriam makes. But the double Noxious Grasp into Ranger's Guile is almost certainly going to be what hits.
And there it is. Both grasps are used to take care of the Lovestruck Beast. This is going to limit how big the Pellet Collector can get, because the 5/5 died before the 4/4 showed up.
Right.
No, and now team just has to hang back.
Yeah, the Bedevil here is a little dangerous to just hold up. It is double black, which will use most of Ross's black mana, but he can still go 1 Gutter Bones plus Bedevil. And I like doing that. Wait for your opponent to do something that would make his creatures be able to attack through Bone Crusher Giant, then punish them with the Bedevil. And after you've already played 2 Noxious Grasps, your opponent might just go for it.
Ooh. This is potentially a real draw. Stalder picks up Primal Might. Now there's a lot going on with how much they want to invest in X. They go for the full amount here. It's going to give a Bone Crusher Giant trigger to Ross.
Wow, targeting that 1/1 is such a beat.
That's a good target.
Yeah, it is.
But Merriam gets to hang on to the Giant, and that made attacks no good last turn.
Yeah, but I think now we're at a point where the Questing Beast's evasion actually has more value than the potential for Pellet Collector to get large. And you also just get to deal a free point of damage now. And your Primal Might was still very good because it forced a Bedevil to kill a 1/1. So like even like that is the cascading effect that not attacking with a Pellet Collector 3 turns ago ended up having. And that's like a spot that I actually end up really liking from Stalder there.
Yeah. We'll see what Merriam can do about it. Draw for turn is Mire Triton. He'll go to work with the Village Rites. Want something better than that. Woe Strider's pretty nice. There's a land, so he can set up Strider and Triton this turn.
Yeah, that can help him dig for Kroxa, a card that's pretty good against the Questing Beast.
No
Obviously,
Kroxa.
Death Touch. Yeah.
There's fuel for the Strider, though, which is nice.
Yeah. The Mire Triton's Death Touch here normally would come into play, but the evasion ability on Questing Beast means the small creatures can't interact.
Yeah, the
big potential turn here from Kevin.
Reasonable thing is the Triton can just attack, which is fine. You know, both players looking to pressure life totals. Now Stalder's got to think about how to use this Primal Might. With Merriam at 16, I don't know.
I don't like killing the Woe Strider. I think killing the Woe Strider is a trap, because then it just comes back as a 4/3 next turn.
Well, I mean, your fastest avenue to win the game might just be fight down the Strider and try to draw Primal Might next turn, and then you have it rolled up.
Or, yeah, but you can also just attack for 4, and then next turn attack for 4 again, and then the turn after that, slam Primal Might. Like, or
True.
You attack, let them chump with Woe Strider this turn, and then next turn you Primal Might the 4/3 version.
Sure, yeah, I dig that. We'll see if
it takes
Merriam...
up an extra turn, which is unfortunate, but...
Questing Beast is attacking. We'll see if Merriam wants to block. Yeah, snaps that off.
I actually was curious if he was going to sack this goat or not.
I love it. With 1 card left over, I don't know what Merriam was reading that card for. However, with Stalder pausing there, you might think it's Primal Might, which means you really want Kroxa right now.
Right.
All right, Triton gets to rumble in. Can't imagine we'll see a block.
No, Merriam's still at 16, so even Primal Might on like this Woe Strider is not game over. It's going to deal him, about 9 to 10 points of damage, and then he's just going to get to either play the Woe Strider again next turn, or just cast Bone Crusher Giant and put up a 4 power blocker against the Questing Beast. All of these are like reasonable spots for Ross to be in, especially because he's such high life total. He's been managing it really well with his blocks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to tell me things look good for Ross Merriam, I have no counter argument.
All right.
Woe Strider escapes. Here's a Gutter Bones. See what Stalder can draw. Scavenging Ooze. All right, this card's real. And it's actually kind of huge, because it means you can Primal Might down the Woe Strider and eat it right away. So here is Primal Might. Fight down that Strider. Get out of range for the fight to matter.
Yeah, I like this play.
Merriam's going to scry with the Goat. Finds Claim the Firstborn. That one does not look good. He's going to think about it.
You also have to think, what is the 3 mana on your opponent's side of things going to be used to do this turn? Is it going to be a Garrick's Harbinger? Is it going to be something that you actually can steal with Claim the Firstborn? You know, the only problem is that he's leaving on top because he's planning on like bringing back the Woe Strider, like, and it's just not going to be there anymore. And so, you know, he's basically just going to be left with the Claim the Firstborn that's mostly dead. However, if he attacks enough with like Mire Triton and eventually gets Stalder down to the point where it's potentially lethal attack, the Claim the Firstborn on like a 5/5 Scavenging is actually pretty good.
Here comes Scavenging Ooze, eats the Strider. Now Merriam draws that claim.
Right on time.
So Merriam has 6 mana here. That Scavenging Ooze has a good amount of food at this point in the game. Ooh, I like this attack with Gutter Bones.
I like attacking with both.
I kind of like the Triton holding off the Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, but the Bone Crusher, like, I actually just don't care if the Scavenging Ooze attacks next turn. Obviously, the Bone Crusher Giant, I was planning on going just like Bone Crusher. Like, let's say that there's no blocks that happen. I'm still going to Bone Crusher Giant face and then cast Bone Crusher because it checks the Questing Beast.
Sure.
And here it looks like Ross is actually just going to cast Bone Crusher with, like, no stomp value and probably play the Gutter Bones as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the stomp being that relevant.
Right. At least not anymore.
And so this line, you know, the difference for your line would be Stalder would be at 13. With this, Merriam has the Triton holding off the Scoos, which I like a good amount. Draw is Questing Beast. That means the first one rumbles in. It's going to trade with Bone Crusher Giant. A little more food for the Ooze. More updates. Nick Miller is reporting that Our Relax has advanced to the top 4. Blood Crypt off the top for Merriam. That's a whammy. Now, this Questing Beast is more of a problem. Merriam is at 10 and has no way to block that. Not just yet. Skews gets busy, grows to a 5/5, Stalder to 17, draws a forest. That's no help, but pretty commanding position. Merriam's the one that needs the top deck. Finds Rankle. Okay,
wow.
On the topic of whole, this is huge. Because you get to Rankle, grab the Scavenging Ooze, each player sacrifices a creature. Wow, that just cleans everything up.
Ross Merriam with the called shot. The great Bam Bino about to take it home here.
There's a bit of work to do on the life total, but that just cleans up the board in a huge way.
Yeah, you say it's like there's a lot of life. There's not after this attack. Like, this attack is going to present a lot of damage. You know, and next turn too, there's going to be 9 power in play with the ability of Rankle to do 1 extra. And that's if Questing Beast doesn't just like trade with Scavenging Ooze, which honestly might just be better, just so because you're losing it anyway.
Rankle and Ooze rumble in. Yeah, looks like the Questing Beast is going to jump in front. May as well.
What a hell of a sequence from Ross. Nice top deck on the Rankle, but he kept that Claim the Firstborn, hoping he would get some use out of it, and oh boy, did he.
Keeping that claim. That paid off. That was so huge. Lovestruck Beast going to try to mount a comeback for Stalder. Another claim off the top for Merriam, though.
Yeah, same
And
sequence.
attack with
He takes the small one this time.
Yeah,
I
you
think.
take the small one and then sack it. Exactly. An attack here. Beast blocks a Gutter Bones. That'll come back anyway. Let's sack our 1/1. Let's kill your 5/5. Cold Shot, very much live for Merriam, at least as far as advancing the top 4. Really good odds. Stalder picks up Scavenging Ooze. It gains some life. That's a blocker, but the Rankle gets to clean that up on Merriam's turn.
Right, and not only, I mean, we talked earlier about Priest of Forgotten Gods and how important it was in the matchup. Rankle is just a turbocharged, hasted version of that costs twice as much mana, but has a very similar effect on the game. That when it starts going, the deck without a lot of removal just can't really do much of anything and gets eaten alive by it. Here, the Scavenging Ooze is going to basically gain a few points of life. It's going to trade for a Gutter Bones. Then the Gutter Bones is going to immediately return and be recast.
And this is the phase of the game where you mentioned the lack of removal, the low amount of removal really matters, because Stalder, you can't draw Creature and Primal Might in the same draw step.
Right. Yeah, there's no real way out from under this thumb.
And Rankle makes it really tough to chain 2 draw steps. It just gets to eat one resource one way or the other. You draw Primal Might, Ross is going to make you discard it. You draw a creature, that Gutter Bones is going to be sacrificed and trade for it.
You see, the prank is that the game is over, but you just have to keep playing for a few turns before you really get it.
It's just as fun as any prank has ever been.
That's true.
And Judith, well, that one's just going to roll it up. That's going to pump the team. Rankle's 4 in the air. There's the good game. Ross Merriam really making like exciting show of things with the Rakdos Sacrifice Day. That top deck with the Claim the Firstborn, chaining that into Rankle, cleaning up a battlefield where he was behind a giant Scavenging Ooze, a questing